Hello everyone, my name is Jason McDonough, and today I'm going to give you a presentation on planning and executing a successful fundraising event. Whether you are brand new to the world of fundraising or you have either helped out or planned or been in charge of fundraisers in the past, I'm confident that this presentation is going to benefit you by giving you some additional tools in your toolbox that will help make the next event even more successful. This fundraising presentation is designed for someone that is relatively new to the fundraising process. But even those of us that have participated or planned a few know that every event is kind of new in its own way. They all have different challenges. Even one that happens annually has new wrinkles, new considerations. So I want everybody to know that I don't think that successful fundraisers are an accident. There is a process that involves planning and marketing, volunteer management, all 6 steps that you see below. All those will go into a successful fundraiser. So what I want us to do is to start with the goal of your fundraising activity. Are you trying to raise money? If so, how much? Are you trying to raise awareness? What exactly is the end goal? So if you could sit down and write the narrative of your event, what would the end look like? That's something that is important to begin with and build off of in the planning process. The following 6 areas will be explained in the next slides, but they are all important to the success of your event. I didn't want to give you a presentation that was solely based upon my own experiences. I feel that lacks a certain credibility. So for this paper, I focused on some interviews with business owners that have been sponsors of other events, some event organizers, some organizations that have benefited from events, and the volunteers that work those events, as well as explored some project management resources, some Wisconsin law, and some different leadership studies. All these things are going to work together to help give you a better understanding of what it's going to take to be successful in your fundraising endeavors. I believe that planning is incredibly important for the success of any fundraising event. And while the type of event is certainly worthy of discussion, it is not the primary factor in the event's success. So as you sit with your event committee or planning group or trying to decide what kind of event that you want to do, my advice is to pick something that you are going to be passionate about and be willing to visit if you were a spectator or willing to support if you were a sponsor. I discussed a little on the last slide about the goal of your event, but there are some additional considerations. For instance, how much money is it going to take to cover costs? Because ideally, you raise enough money in sponsorships to cover the cost of putting the event on. And then everything you get in sales or attendance is profit for the group or event or cause that you are trying to help. So most likely sponsorships will be needed, and I'll cover sponsorship solicitation on the next slide. The location of the event. That part is incredibly important because that will factor into logistics and legal concerns resulting from local ordinances, state ordinances. What kind of support can the benefiting group or cause give? Number 6 is look for and identify the stakeholders. Who are the people that are going to be affected by the outcome? Who has a vested interest in your event succeeding? those people are also going to be resources for volunteers and sponsorship. Um, they will be your avenues into businesses through family connections, friends, things like that. And then lastly, plan for change. As the event process moves along, new things are going to creep up. There are going to be new considerations. So plan as well as you can your event, but always keep in the back of your mind that new concerns, new issues will pop up. I did some research on the internet and I came across an article about sponsorship solicitation by Dan McCarthy, and he spells out something that I agree with and I know to be true. So like I said earlier, I don't want this presentation to be all about my experience. So he had 5 points to make when it comes to getting sponsorships. And I know from firsthand knowledge that he's 100% right. First of all, make your presentation pop. We have to understand that there are no shortages of outstanding causes, great events, great groups of people out there, and these businesses get asked to partner with different events all the time. So make your presentation stand out. So put some time into it, research the business you're going to, and go in with some clear objectives. Second is offer incentives. Is there a chance that a business can have naming rights? What different levels of sponsorship are there? A common one is a gold or a platinum, a gold, and a silver level of sponsorship. Platinum gets all sorts of signage at the event, advertising in marketing, whereas a silver may just get signs at the event. Offer a minimum risk solution. So if your event requires food and your local grocery store might not be ready to partner with you yet, ask them for a discount on supplies. And in exchange for that, put up one of their signs at your event. But study your prospective sponsors and build a rapport. Sit down with them and don't go right into asking for money. Ask some questions first. Kind of break the ice. Marketing your event is another very important area, and there's lots of different ways to do it in the 21st century. Posters, banners, flyers, traditional media. And you can use traditional media along with the 21st century social media to really get the information about your event out. Lindsay Harabic has some great advice for people that are looking to market an event and wondering which avenue, whether it be traditional or social, is going to be the best avenue for them to market their event. And she says that when you use traditional media, use that in an effort to drive people back to your social media. So on the flyers, give them a website that they can go to for more information. It just makes the experience a little more personal, and you can update information much quicker via social media than you can run articles in the local newspaper. But all of these areas of marketing go together to generate a buzz and generate some excitement for your event. The logistical considerations are numerous, and these are just a few. But this is an important part of the planning process where you explore bathrooms, parking, food, all these different things. It's the logistical considerations that will make the event a more enjoyable one for those who attend. We all have been to large music festivals, county fairs, waited in line for food, waited in line for the bathrooms, And those are the kind of things that detract from an event. And we want to put on the best quality event we can. So spend a little extra time and really explore the logistics required to make the event a successful one. Volunteer management is important to the success of your event in much the same way that sponsorship solicitation is, and it needs to be thought of in much the same manner. Don't just go out and try to recruit as many volunteers as you can. Sometimes too many volunteers is just as detrimental as too few. So my advice is to break the event into some smaller events. Do you have ticket takers? Do you have parking attendants, food service people, things like that? And then recruit volunteers specifically for those tasks. So that'll tell you about how many volunteers you'll need. So where to find them? If you are, again, using the example of money changing hands, you, to find somebody for that task, would want to recruit people that are very responsible and have the ability to do math or run calculators fast. And then let the volunteers know what their responsibilities are. The accounting process for a fundraising event does not need to be a complicated one, but it does need to be a transparent one. Clearly show how the money that is brought in is used and then ultimately returned to the group or organization or the cause that your fundraising event is meant to sponsor. It's important for credibility, and it is important for future sponsorships to show how much money, how successful your event was. So definitely set up a checking account in the event's name and then be 100% transparent with that. One of the key questions is who is going to decide how money for the event is spent. And it needs to be clearly communicated who those people are, who that person is, and how they arrived at their decision to spend money. One of the final considerations is if your event is going to be a yearly event, a large event, you may want to explore 501(c)(3) status. Post-event activities are a form of marketing for future events. You want to leave the community, leave the volunteers, leave the sponsors feeling great that they supported and partnered with your event. So publicize, in the same way you marketed the event, how successful your event was. Publicize the awarding of funds to the event or the cause. Thank the volunteers, thank the hosting location, and give credit. The event staff should take responsibility and give credit. It may be true that no two events are ever the same, but there is a similar procedure for successful fundraising events, and it always hinges and depends upon the planning. The better you can plan, the more effective you can communicate, and the better your marketing campaign is, the better your event will be. And it can be a daunting and exhausting task, but never lose sight of the fact that you are trying to help better the community that you're in and give something back. So keep that passion, use that energy, and go out and have the best event you can have. These are some resources that I've used for the creation of this project, and they have been instrumental in helping me plan for future events. So please take a minute and visit them, and you will see that they will be helpful to you as well.